my name is Sona.
I'm Unique.
Hello, my name is Eunhyung Kim, and we are starting off by giving you an example of what we're gonna talk about.
Gwangju Inner School about sexual assault had occurred in 2005. At that time, the community was not treated as a sensitive issue, but recently, as in the case of a movie Dogani, is a box office, online netizens were so crazy, many people became interested, eventually led to the cult tendency. Like this case, Koreans seem to have a strong crowd psychology on the internet.
The mob psychology is that people in large groups sometimes behave in a way they would never do in individual. The internet and the media have contributed greatly in driving the whole nation into fear and stimulating the mob psychology. Once people are trapped in the atmosphere, they seem to share strong belief that they have and go along with others' opinions.
I think the reason of the mob psychology in Korea is that Koreans are collective, so they care so much things about other people's opinion and they concerned about the idea in a group. However, the Western countries like America, Canada, even New Zealand, they only care about individuals because they are individualistic. So we can say Koreans have a tendency to follow the crowd more than Westerners. Now let's see the interview with foreigners about this issue.
Have you ever heard of the mob psychology or crowd psychology?
Yes, I have.
Then please tell me what you know about it.
I don't know much about it, but I heard it is, or I have seen like on TV and stuff, when people are in a crowd, they act differently to how they would act when they are alone. So maybe at sports events and things like that, or protests if there's a riot or something, they are influenced or affected by other people in the crowd.
Do you think Koreans have tendency to follow the crowd more than your country's people?
Yes, I think so.
Why do you think so?
Well, I'm from New Zealand, so I think Korea has a lot more population, is much bigger, and the people live in bigger cities, so the people are always close to each other, like more than in New Zealand. A lot of New Zealand people live in the countryside, so they don't often get together in big groups. Like in Korea, it's not as easy to do. And Koreans have maybe more in their history and Confucian society, they have idea about group or society first, but in New Zealand we just think about individuals first. One person, we think about ourselves, but in Korea maybe think about other people.
Okay, this is my last question. Koreans sometimes lose their temper and express their opinion extremely bad without good manners in the internet. Have you ever heard of some situation related with this kind of thing?
Maybe the situation of Jaebom. He said something negative about Korea, and then netizens said really bad things about him and told him to go back, not stay in Korea and things like that. So think there was kind of mob mentality or crowd mentality. They all attacked on the internet.
Okay, my first question is, have you ever heard of the mob psychology? No? Let me give you a definition of that. Well, the mob psychology is that people in large groups sometimes behave in a way they would never do in individual. Like the internet and the media have contributed greatly in driving the whole nation into fear and stimulating the mob psychology. Can you grasp that concept?
The media?
Sometimes the media.
Yeah, like I agree.
Especially
Yeah, I agree with that. The term that people behave differently in groups,
Oh.
they feel more comfortable and they relate that. They feel more comfortable behaving in a way with a group of people, either on the internet or personally, than being by themselves. And I guess that media has helped develop that behavior. Yeah, because they see like it's okay behaving this way with my friends or people, and maybe it shouldn't be okay behaving the same way with myself.
Right. Okay. So, do you think Koreans have a tendency to follow the crowd more than Americans?
Yeah, I feel that as we study, Americans are more individualistic and they like to, how can you say, like they want to stand up, stand out.
Stand out.
Oh, look at me. And
Yeah.
sometimes you will see in the group that everyone is behaving the same way, and maybe someone's trying to be more outstanding than others.
Yeah.
But I don't think the difference is really big, because I noticed that in America, when I'm with my friends, I behave in one way, actually mostly similar to them, such as being loud or, And in Korea, I noticed that the same thing happened.
Yes. Okay. Then this is my last question. Well, about the mob psychology, let me give you the other example. Well, some of Korean celebrities, especially singers or actresses, have killed themselves because of unbearable, like insulting words to them. You know what I mean? So mostly the people insulting the celebrities are the follower of the internet society. So how do you think about that? It's kind of like negative things about the mob psychology.
Yeah, I think actors and actresses, they really take into account what other people think, and
right.
I think that's the reason they kill themselves. While and maybe in Western society, they don't really care about other things. They just want to, as long as they have the attention, either good or bad, they don't really care. They don't really care what they say. And yeah, I think it is a really negative aspect of it, because people hurt with words. They really, sometimes they are really mean.
Yeah.
And it depends on the person whether you actually take things so personally or not. And I think that's the cultural variation of it.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Sure.
My first question. Have you ever heard of the mob psychology?
No.
No? Mob psychology is that people in large groups sometimes behave in a way they would never do in individual. So the internet and the media have contributed greatly in driving the whole nation into fear and stimulating the mob psychology. So can you grasp it?
Sure, I think it's also called like de-individualization or the mean street syndrome.
Yeah, it's also called crowd psychology. So, well, then do you think Koreans have a tendency to follow the crowd more than Canadians?
I suppose, just because you have a few more examples, for example, like World Cup, everybody wearing red and large
Right.
social gatherings. However, if you look at like Vancouver, it also has a mob kind of sense or a mob mentality, especially for like sports riots. Like when Vancouver Canucks lost, there's a huge like a riot downtown where 20,000 people destroyed police cars and private property. But I suppose individually, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Well, this is my last question. Well, Koreans sometimes lose their temper and express their opinion extremely bad, without morality and good manners on the internet. So I will give you another example of the bad mob psychology. Well, some of Korean celebrities, especially singers or actresses, have killed themselves because of unbearable insulting words on the internet. So how do you think about that?
What do I think about internet bullying?
Internet bullying.
Oh, I suppose it's kind of a negative social phenomena, but it's I suppose you could say it's a little bit influential of like Confucian society, isn't it? That you can't really say things to your superiors face to face. Or like, so there's a kind of a sense that if you are anonymous, that you can kind of express yourself, and sometimes you can take it to extreme and express yourself in a negative way. But I think you find that like in Kweshik as well. Like if you go for company dinner, you don't really express what you're thinking to your boss. But when you go out and have some drinks, then people are a little bit more freer with their tongues and their ideas.
Interesting.
And what we've learned from this interview is that foreigners are aware of Koreans have collectivism, and the mob psychology is one of the ways to express their opinions under the collective circumstances. Now, we are wondering, how do you think about the mob psychology? Thank you!
Thank you!